Hello, it's Rob from Fountain Pen Journey with a pen review. Now, a short while ago I purchased this pen from a seller, Roscoe's Pens here in the UK, on eBay in an auction, and yeah, very happy with it. Now, please watch this video to the end because there are one or two, well, there is one issue. But I'm going to do the review of the pen and then talk about the issue after that. So let's just move the pad out of the way. So Jinhao, this is the Jinhao Dragon Series number 90, and yes, it is one hell of a pen. We've got, I'll go through the parts of the pen first because I mean, let's face it, this is quite an unusual looking pen. The finial at the top has got these three claws in this gilded metal thing, and this marble, this glass marble, has a cat's eye chatoyant effect. This rotates in the holder at the top, so yeah, that's quite a stunning feature. Black plastic cap, metal cap band, and loads of very thick, heavy, must add heavy, embellishment with a dragon on it with faux rubies, or I guess faux rubies for eyes. Try and get this to focus properly. There we go. Lots of very ornate work around the black lacquered finish. There is a metal band with some threads here, which is designed so to post the cap onto that, and a black, appears to be metal finial at the end, nothing on there. So unscrew the cap. Ooh, let's do the usual test. 1, 2 turns, and rather a short section, black plastic section, which is actually quite comfortable. There's no, if you hold it like this as I do when I'm writing, no issues whatsoever with anything getting in the way. Even this embellishment actually ends where the rest of the pen meets your hand, so that's quite nice. And the dragon is actually orientated in such a way that the nib is, you know, in the correct orientation for the dragon to be looking up at you when you write with this pen. So, you know, it's quite well designed. The cap has screws, threads rather, so it can screw on to be posted. So yeah, huge pen, very heavy, and it's actually quite comfortable to write with, posted or unposted. I think given the rather ostentatious look of the pen, it's actually worthwhile posting this pen. You might as well have the full package, so everything going on. So there's the parts of the pen. Let's talk about the weight of this pen, because this is probably the heaviest pen in my collection to date. So turn the scales on. So all up, capped, 84.3 grams. Wow, heavy pen. Uncapped, 66.2 grams. This is a heavy pen. This is not the sort of thing you're going to want to write for extended periods, posted or unposted. 18.2 grams for the cap. So very heavy pen, you have been warned. Let's post that, cap that back on there, and let's do a comparison with the Lamy Safari. No, Lamy All-Star. There we go. So just a little bit shorter capped, uncapped. Obviously a little bit shorter posted, Let's post this. So yeah, it is a fair bit shorter than Lamy All-Star. So just if you're interested, but it's certainly an awful lot heavier. 2 metal pens. This one weighs a ton. So pop that back there. How does this write? Now this is going to be an interesting one because we'll get onto this in a minute. Hard start. I'll get back to that. Oof. Very, very dry, hard start. Scrap that bit, start again. Oops, series. Number 90. So Jinhao Dragon Series number 90. And this nib is 2-tone nib, which I can try to get to focus. There we go. And it is a fine nib. So there's the pen. Let's see how it writes. Yeah, I've not experienced any flow issues, writing issues, anything like that with this pen. Let's do a quick smear test. Now, this ink is also a Jinhao ink, so this is Jinhao green. Green cartridges, they are standard international, but they are longer than short standard international cartridges, not quite as long as long ones. They're a bit of a weird size. And I find that this ink, let's just lay down a patch of ink for you, see what it looks like. I mean, you can see the pen keeps up, no issues laying down ink. It is a bit of a dry ink, and it is a little bit on the unsaturated side. Fortunately, Fortunately, it does wash out of things, because let's get on to the reason why this pen hard started. I'll tell you about why it's important for this ink to wash out. I have got my everyday carry pen mug, which I keep my pens in, and normally I keep my pens nibbed down in there. Usually because I like to be able to pick them up without a hard start, and I rotate them daily. Whenever I'm writing, I use a different pen, so you know, I don't have any issues usually of pens leaking ink into the cap if they're stored nib down. If I store them nib upright, you get hard starts, things like that. So that's why I tend to do that with my home pens. Now this pen I had stored nib down and came to write with a different pen and thought, well, there's a lot of green ink on my hands, wonder where that's come from. And I've got a couple of green inks in different pens in there, so I was a little bit sort of wonder where this has come from. Then on Sunday my wife pointed out to me that there was ink on our lovely new laminate flooring, and she was not very happy about it. Now fortunately a wet wipe cleaned it up really easily, and it turned out that it was this green ink in this pen where it had leaked. And I thought, it seems a bit strange, there's no, I had a feel around the cap, no ink, don't know what's going on. Unscrewed it. These pens do come with converters usually, and there was very little ink left in this cartridge. So there was the culprit, and I needed to know why the ink had leaked out and how it had got out of the cap. Now, look down there in the bottom of the cap. There is a hole, and you can see if I rotate the marble, yep, straight out onto the marble, around the marble into the bottom of my little mug. So storing this pen nib down resulted in the ink just flowing out through the feed and the nib into the cap, straight out the hole and out the end. So there is a hole in the bottom of this cap which leads to ink leakage from the nib when it's stored nib down. So be aware of that. Now what I'm going to do, I didn't have any hard start issues because probably the nib was flowing ink all the time. With this pen, no hard starts until I stored it nib up. And it's only been stored nib up unwritten with for less than 24 hours. So there's your hard starts right up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to dribble in some very viscous sealing material, some sort of adhesive probably, that will set that hole and stop the ink from flowing out. So there is a bit of a buyer beware for this pen. Obviously, buyer beware, you've got to have a few balls. You've got to have balls to buy a pen like this and use it somewhere. Yeah, this is a significantly over the top pen. I really like it. I am going to use a different ink when I've used the ink up in this cartridge just to see what it's like. But there's my review of this particular pen with that one little bit of a warning about the hole being in the end of the cap here. So I hope you found this useful. It's certainly a pen and a half. I mean, it really is quite a statement. There aren't many pens which are this elaborate, certainly not for this price. I mean, it really is quite over the top. The first Jinhao Dragon pen I got was the Jinhao 1200 Dragon pen in silver, and I thought that was over the top. This is a completely different level altogether. So if you like the look of the pen, buy one. Don't let the hard starting issues put you off, because you may find that your pen doesn't have that hole in the cap there, but it is sealable. So I shall be sealing this and enjoy using this pen some other times. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you found it useful. I'll see you next time. This pen does get a thumbs up from me simply because it is so over the top. Thanks for watching. Bye.